whereas before I tended to write just pieces or snatches of music, and the others have said what they like and what they think we should do, and from that point on we've become like a group, and we've interpreted what I've initially written. But this time I thought it would be much more interesting for me to write words particularly, and also for people listening to what we do, if there was like a diversity at the very start of the process. So I asked I had to force the others to give me some cassettes of what they were doing, because I know that they can write things. It's just that they're very lazy, and they're very reluctant to give me things because they thought, well, we'll do a good album anyway, because we always have, so it's the easy way out. But we just sat down and listened. We gave each other marks, and we didn't know whose was whose song. We obviously knew which were ours, although at times I didn't know which were mine. And then it evolved all the way through, or devolved right the way until we had about 35 songs which we demoed, and then that went down. We recorded 25 songs for real, and actually I sang them and we mixed them. And the 18 songs that are on the album aren't the 18. It's my choice really. The others wouldn't choose the same 18 songs, so it's not even really the best 18 songs. It's just the 18 songs which I feel work best together. The others don't agree with me.
Yeah, but have you ever thought of releasing 2 single albums in, for instance, 6 months or 9 months? Or do you consider Kiss Me as not an entire piece of music?
Yeah, we had to either reduce it down to 10 or 8 songs and release it as one single album. We couldn't have released it over a period of time, because already I'm starting to think about what we're going to do next, and we haven't even played most of these songs live. The idea of the record, in one way, when we started to record it, I found that it was almost becoming like a resume of everything the Cure had done up until now. It's like all the best bits that I think we've done over the years, we've taken elements of them and worked them into songs, and so there's about half the album is looking back and half of it's looking forward to things, like areas that we've never worked in before, and it just stops like 10 years of the Cure, and means that whatever we do next we can do anything really. We can choose any style, even ones that we've never used before we can choose. So it would have made more sense financially for us to release 2 single albums, because we would have got paid twice by the record company. But artistically, which is the way that we work, that it may as well all go out or not go out at all. We had a selection of studios through Europe. And we actually I ended up mixing the album with Dirk in ICP in Brussels, which is a brilliant studio, which we would have actually recorded in ICP. We would have done the whole album there, but we wanted a studio which was far away from the city. We didn't want to get up in the morning and have to get a cab or drive somewhere and then record. At Miraval we had like a vineyard. We lived actually in the studio, or around the studio, so it meant that if we felt like recording at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, we could just say, right, we went up, we turned the lights on, and we just started to record, and that's the best way to record. We haven't done that since the Love Cats was the last time we did that. It's just really, really good fun. Over 2 years, which was almost the longest lineup that the Cure's ever had, even though we've only ever had, there's been 9 people in the Cure from the very start, and 5 are still in the group, there's 4 are still in the group, and Boris is like the newcomer of 2 years. But it's much more important than anything else that we all get on with each other. I mean, I can't understand how we hear all the stories from all the people that we mix with, no other groups, and how they all dislike each other, and like we go on holiday together. It's really funny. I just have found a really good balance of personalities with the other 4, to balance out mine. I'm sure that they all feel the same about me. But they probably don't, they probably hate me, but it's tough, isn't it?
Is Boris now a definite member of the band? Or could you imagine the Cure is another drummer, no?
No, I think that, Andy was a really good drummer, but personality-wise never quite fitted in. It was always difficult, because he's it's mainly just to do with how you approach what you do within the group, and also how you've been brought up. A lot of it, it's really to do with, like the way you think about a lot of things that aren't to do with music. It's like your whole sort of cultural upbringing, and Andy's was very, very different to us, there was no kind of friction, but after a while he wanted other things, and it was fine. There was no real problem there. But like Boris we all have the same kind of outlook on important things like politics and stuff. We all have the same kind of upbringing. So, I mean, that helps. And we're united in a sort of a mental and a spiritual way, as well as just like a musical way.
And very surprising pictures of you with a brand new short haircut. And I think that this new haircut wasn't, a few months ago, this new haircut wasn't really innocent because you decided to cut your hair a few days before you left for America. So could you explain this story?
Yeah, I did it. I mean, my sort of trite reason was because it was going to be very hot in America because it was the summer. It was like late last summer, and I didn't want to be bothered trying to make my hair stick up all the time. I just wanted to forget about my haircut. And that led on to the second point, which I suppose was the real reason, was that I had grown very weary of the emphasis that was being placed on the group's image, and particularly my haircut. You know, I mean, it doesn't really exist in Europe as bad. I mean, in America it's got to like ludicrous proportions, like, isn't he cuddly, wouldn't you like to take him home? I just wanted to make myself look even uglier, really. I mean, like, having longer hair can just, like, soften your features. It makes people look at you in a certain way. If you have a very savage skinhead haircut, and I took to wearing savage sort of skinhead boots for a while, people get out of the way, and it's a much more aggressive kind of, I don't know, aggressive image, which sort of translates over into what you're doing. People suddenly step back and feel, oh, they don't really care what they look like, you know, which is what all I wanted to do. I don't want the group to become like a glossy sort of picture group. I think it's really dumb. I tried for 6 months in 1979 to escape the tag of this is the group that did Kill an Arab, you know, and it was all happening over again. It was quite a nightmare for a time, but they have understood now, you know, and we're doing a benefit concert for homeless Arabic, Israeli and American children on the next American tour, just to show that we have you know...
Yeah, but after all those programs, could you still write a song with such an ambiguous title, or would you prefer to write a song with a more simple title to avoid those problems?
No, I don't. I mean, when I wrote it, I realised that it was quite an inflammatory title. But then the incident, I was praising an incident out of a book by Albert Camus, where an Arab was killed. It had no bearing on the song. The fact that the victim was an Arab. I mean, it could have been a Scandinavian. Killing a Scandinavian wouldn't have had the same kind of world ripples. But the only other time we ever had a problem was in the very first few months of release in England, and we actually went on stage and in front of this demonstration. I sang "Killing an Englishman."
Pure cliche with the color black, but in fact you do not lie.
That's why I took my jacket off. See.
Is it true?
At the moment we're all wearing black and white. I've noticed. It's not, you know, we haven't sort of decided, but I think it's I think I like just the contrast of black and white. I've never worn black, really. I've always preferred to wear white than to black. We used to wear black for a very short period in the group's history, around about the time of Pornography and Faith, because we toured like hundreds of days a year, and we were always going somewhere else. We could never have time to wash our clothes, and it's a horrible reason, but that's why we used to wear black. They used to be filthy, and it was the best colour to hide up the dirt.
But black is also the color of a deep and hopeless romanticism. So do you accept this image of a romantic Robert Smith, or is it another pure cliche?
That's only true in Western culture, though. But I mean, in a lot of Eastern cultures, white is the spirit of mourning. You know, everyone wears white when someone dies, and black is actually the eternal joy. And so it's I don't know. I mean, we've always preferred. No, like we work in the studio at night, and I always prefer getting up late and using the evening as my daytimes. But I don't think it's through any kind of want of mystery. You know, something like very, you know, like black and the owls are hooting. That's like that sort of gothic cack. It's I don't know. I don't really think there's that much to it. I despise people who use such trite ideas to express something which is, you know, should be more important than that. I mean, the music that we play has in the past been described as black, which I can understand. But I would never walk about hooded in black going, bing bing. The group with me as something separate. I mean, I see me on magazine covers as like a third person. I don't, and people will stand outside and go, ah! And I don't think, they're doing that for me. They're not, they're doing it for the image of someone called Robert Smith, who's the singer in a group called The Cure. So it's, it just, after this amount of time and all that we've done, and like every record that we've made I thought was really good, and they've been, you know, less and less ignored as the years go by. I'm glad that we're now at a point where people listen to us and we're able to be played on the radio, but at the same time I'm not sort of bitter about places where we're not popular. You know, when we go to America, if we play on the west coast of America, like if we play in Los Angeles, we can play 3 nights in a 20,000 seater auditorium. We can go to Phoenix or something like that, or New Orleans, and play, if we're lucky, we'll play to 1,200 people. So that exists like all around the world. There's different pockets of people who think like The Cure are their favourite group, or they have never even heard of you. So I mean, as long as I can encompass that whole, and I know that it's really immaterial. I mean, what's important is that if I step outside the group and I look at us and I still want to be me, and I still want to be Robert Smith, the singer in a group called The Cure, that's the only thing that's ever been important. Brussels is really good. I was surprised. Every time we've come to Brussels over the years, we've always had a lot of trouble, and we've been here one night and we've always gone to a club and got in a fight and stuff. But since I haven't been here to mix the album, I've actually spent some time here, and it's nicer than Paris, I think, as a city. I think it's really good to actually go out. It's not as pretty as Paris, but I think that there's for things to do.
Is it possible to talk about the concerts and the tour in next autumn?
I know, but we haven't actually tried it yet. It's quite an elaborate exercise. It's got a lot of visual effects. It's got a lot of slides, and we're making a film. Paul and Andy's partner, who did the art, have done the artwork for like the past sort of 6 or 7 records. I've made a film, which is like an animated album cover. It's like my mouth, and it's like eyes, and it's reminiscent in a way of like an old surrealist film. And we're using that and slides, and it's going to go through the concert. So the whole concert's going to like last for quite a long time. We're hoping to find a support group that will complement the whole thing, so it's like actually about a 3-hour show from beginning to end. But we're expanding to a 6-piece for the next lot of concerts as well. So it's the whole thing will be very different to anything we've done before. It's strange whenever we do a video with Pat. I refer to him as Pat. I can't change, otherwise I keep saying Tim Pope. It doesn't sound like the same man. Ever since Let's Go to Bed, the reason why we've got on with him is because he always comes and says, what do you want to do in the next, for this song? What do you see in the next song? And we say something and he goes, that's exactly what I thought. And on this one, he came to us all and he said, what do you want to do? And we were talking about it, and we said, I think in the next video we should be dancing. We should be dancing like choreographed things. We actually wanted to make it look like Singing in the Rain, like really classy dance steps. And he said, no, I see more 5-star. I see it, So it ended up, somewhere along the line, we introduced us dressing up, and but the whole thing making videos with him is that we just get horribly drunk, and we work it all out beforehand, and we all have like on a piece of paper what we're supposed to be doing. Then we get horribly drunk, and then he just films, until we fall over. But it was good fun. I think it's a particularly stupid video.
If you would meet the young Robert Smith as you were 10 years ago, would you sign him on fiction and produce this record?
I'd tell him to go home and start to write books, as it would be much more fun. I'd sign him. More importantly, if I was the young Robert Smith and I met me now, would the young Robert Smith spit in my face? I don't think he would. I don't think I've changed that much.